Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. It's getting a little crowded with all the Ewoks, I gotta be honest. Anyway, so it's finally time to review a huge novel here by Karen Traviss called Order 66. Now, I don't really think I have to explain the plot to you because if you saw episode 3, you already know what Order 66 is. But this book basically dwells on her characters, her clone commanders. This is like a Republic Commando sequel. It is a sequel book. It just doesn't have the name up front, just called Order 66, where it shows them dealing with that crisis and what's going through their mind as the order's gone out and the aftermath thereof. So what did I think about this book? Well, first off, I think the title is a little misleading. Now, of course, hardcore EU fans already knew it was going to be a sequel following her characters. But imagine this. You're someone who's, you're a casual fan, you enjoy the movies, you maybe watch the Tartakovsky's Clone Wars show, but you never read any of the books or comic books. But after seeing episode 3, you just couldn't help it. You were just so pumped about that movie, you said, I want to read more. And then you looked at bookshelves at that time and you saw this book, Order 66. You're like, yeah, I want to read about clone troopers ripping apart Jedi. That sounds awesome. And maybe you'll elaborate more on that. And then they open it up and they read about Jedi and clone troopers having children. And what? I think that would be so confusing to the common person just trying to come on in from the movies and start reading the books, and that's the first book they find. I wonder how much that happened and how big a turnoff it was for new people, new fans trying to get into the expanded universe. Because to me, that would have been confusing. Now, when I read it overall, it's actually a better story than some of her others. The plot line's okay. Of course, I don't enjoy the Jedi clone love angle, and I've already mentioned that before. But overall, it's not a bad story. And of course, it is dealing around Order 66 and how those characters are dealing with it, even though the focus is more on them. Now, one of the things Karen Traviss does here, she does have a contradiction in the book. She implies that the Battle of Coruscant took place over several days, whereas the movie makes it sound like it was one day. The books and the short stories and the TV shows and the comic books all say it was one day. How is Karen Traviss the only one who pretends it lasts several days? And I was really confused when I read that. I went, wait a minute, how long is this Battle of Coruscant? It seems to go on forever. And I don't know what her thinking was. Now, I talked to an author last year whose name will go unmentioned here, who has worked with Karen Traviss and knows her very well. He said he loves Karen Traviss, yet she is very headstrong. If you tell her no on something, she's daggum sure going to do it and shove it in your face. And I can see that too. And maybe they told her, Karen, I don't think the battle lasted this long. She went, oh yeah, it did. In my book it did. And I saw that kind of attitude online, which is something I'm going to mention. We're going to talk about that when we get to some of her later books. So should you read this book? Well, yeah, I think you should take the whole Republic Commando series and wipe them out. All of them. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's all right. It's not the best one she's ever written. My favorite's still No Prisoners. But it's not the worst one either during the Clone Wars. In fact, this is probably in the upper echelon or middle of the road for me. I thought it was fine, like I said. Not the best, but it's still good. It doesn't have any other continuity besides her own books in that one. So continuity-wise, it would be skippable because it doesn't, connect to that many things, except for her own books. So if you're reading her own books, you definitely shouldn't skip Order 66, or you'll be so confused when you get to Imperial Commando down the road. All right, folks, that is all the time I have for now. See you next time.